Following the detection of the B11529 variant of the COVID-19 virus in South Africa, the World Health Organization will hold a special meeting to consider the significance of the new developments. Now, in a swift response, Israel and Britain have announced new travel restrictions in several African countries. Israel reclassified South Africa, Lesotho, Botswana, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Eswatini with immediate effect, while Prime Minister Naftali Bennett's office has said after a meeting. Now, foreigners from these countries can no longer travel to Israel from those areas, and Israelis returning from these countries must quarantine for up to 14 days in a coronavirus hotel. After a week, they will be released if they return a negative PCR test. Now, in like manners, Britain is suspending flights from South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho, Botswana, Eswatini, and Zimbabwe from midday on Friday. And all 6 countries will be added to London's red list, and that's according to the Health Secretary, Sajeev Javid. Now, coronavirus cases with the variant has been confirmed in Botswana, South Africa, and Hong Kong.
Now we have Arise South Africa correspondent Mxolisi Masango, who's joining us now to look at how this new discovery is being received in South Africa. Good afternoon. It seems like there is yet unverified reports that another hard lockdown may be reimposed in South Africa. Could you tell us some more?
Well, yes, talk and speculation is rife at the back of the discovery of that what they called a super variant of the COVID-19 virus here in South Africa. What we do know right now is that the Command Task Team on COVID-19 is expected to sit, I think, in the next couple of hours, on which, they'll detail a way forward. Now, this variant, which is deemed to be apparently even vaccine, of course, immune. It turns out that it was discovered in neighboring Botswana just a few days ago. Now, the South African Health Department has come out to say that through its excellent team of scientists, as well as health practitioners, they were able to detect and pick up this super variant, as they called it. And they said it's expected to be given a Greek name today. And what we also do know today is that more tests are going to be conducted. And as far as we know, is that there are a few positive cases of this new variant that has been identified. But the health department has said that there's absolutely no cause for panic here in South Africa. What they're really trying to do right now is racing against time to ensure that they nip it in the bud, to ensure that we don't see another, dangerous December like we saw last year in light of that new variant that also came. But of course, also there's been talk about how government is going to impose another lockdown ahead of the festive season, because it's not really looking good. It's a grim picture. Infections of COVID-19 by the previous reporting cycle had doubled up to twice the number that they were by last week. So the numbers are really going down. Government is not really sure what to do with this new variant because they're still conducting tests. So it's not really looking good. However, government is really trying to allay South Africans' fears, to say, don't panic. They're really working against the clock to ensure that they conduct more tests, to ensure that South Africans are safe.
All right, we hope South Africans are safe, but how can the South African government have them be receiving this news, by the way?
Well, the Central Command team on COVID-19 is expected to sit. I literally sat through that press briefing yesterday after the discovery of this new variant, where it was a press conference which at term there was so much to do about nothing, basically, because the information that they gave us was basically, hey, there's a new variant that has now hit our shores. What are we going to do? They were not really sure. So it seems like information is only starting to trickle in now, that they're saying that this was was discovered in our neighboring Botswana, and they're really working around the clock with South African scientists as well as health professionals to ensure that they try and nip it in the bud, to ensure that it does not get out of control. As we're having this talk right now, the South African Health Department, in a statement, said that there's absolutely no cause for concern for South Africans as this new variant has been discovered, and we're working with health practitioners and scientists in our neighboring countries to ensure that South Africans enjoy the festive season. Now, this is, of course, at the back of some of the concern that South Africans have raised that, this could be another bad festive season for South Africans. But right now, I can tell you that the presidency is expected to address South Africans on a way forward as far as COVID-19 is concerned. So it could go either way. We might be getting another hard lockdown, or more restrictions could be posed for South Africans as far as COVID-19 is concerned. So which means movements might be limited in the next coming weeks.
And in terms of the festive season coming around, you called it a dangerous December. What is it? What is the citizenry taking it like in terms of vaccinations? I know some were vaccine hesitant. I wonder if they're going to be pushing for more of that in the coming weeks.
Look, vaccine hesitancy has been a problem for the government since they've kickstarted the phase 2 and phase 3 of vaccination, which saw South Africans from 29 to the 40 age cohort, as well as some of them in the 18 going down cohort. There has been some issues. I mean, there's been legal battles where we saw in some schools, some parents actually getting groups together in which they signed a petition to say they don't want their children vaccinated at school. We've seen more South Africans, especially male South Africans, refusing to go and get vaccinated due to the myths that had been circulated around being vaccinated, how, of course, some of them might be infertile. Those are some of the myths that are doing the rounds in South Africa, that if a man gets vaccinated, he might not be able to have children. He might have an issue with his sex drive. And those are some of the myths in which governments are dismissed and said they're totally bizarre to have South Africans be alarmed about such a thing when these are vaccines that have been tested and, of course, trusted to ensure that, they fight and help in the fight against COVID-19. For South Africans right now, the pace that the government has given us is about less than 20% of South Africans are fully vaccinated, which is a cause for concern for South Africa. And in light of this new variant that has just hit our shores, government has been saying they're not even sure if, a vaccine is sufficient to protect you from this new variant. So it's really some sort of alarm bells that have been raised, but also South Africans have also been urged to go and get vaccinated. Whether or not they're going to heed the call to get vaccinated is another thing.
All right, Mxolisi, talk to us about moving forward, because we know certainly these, very, very briefly, are we going to be seeing major bans in terms of alcohol? Are we going to be going back to what we saw at the height of COVID last year? Or do you think this time around the lockdown will be a little bit different and more strategic?
To be honest with you, it's always about, for government, it's always about striking a perfect balance between people's livelihoods and, of course, lives, to ensure that the economy is still flowing properly and to also ensure that jobs are not hampered in any way. So it would really be interesting to see how the South African government is going to respond in light of the likes of the UK, posing a ban on South African travelers to say they cannot go that side. So government is, of course, going to have to carefully craft their next address, because we're expecting the president to come up with a carefully crafted address for South Africans to say that this is how we're going to be moving forward. So we're keeping an eager eye on that as well.
Thank you so much for your contribution to the program this afternoon.